Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Um, there are some good looking setups. So yeah, it depends if they trigger or not. Yep. That's a good focus list. I have two of those on watch myself. Yeah. Yeah, Intel's another one. Probably going to set an alert on this one too, honestly. I had my eyes on the other ones as well, like LRCX, which held above the 50 simple moving average, KLAC, which is above the 50 simple moving average. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these semiconductors which held in there really well. MU's another one. Lemonade, yeah, Lemonade, not bad. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I've kind of I like TV. It seems to move a little smoother. I'm obviously missing some of my old indicators. I still have my Thinkorswim charts pulled up, but for the sake of streaming, I think it's a little bit smoother. So it's just a matter of getting some things organized with TradingView. But yeah, as it relates to Lemonade, it's got this high volume close for earnings. So it's got this level right in here, basically. Toss is very laggy sometimes. Yeah. I learned it from Gil Morales, the 620 setup. Yeah, I like Cat's Bull Flag, and it's one of the industrial names. It's probably the leading industrial name. It's really nice. It also had a nice setup right through here as well. Yeah, FSLR looks pretty damn good. Looks pretty damn good. Does it end up needing a longer base? I don't know, but every time this thing comes down to the 50-day or at least the 20, it's been bouncing. So, pullbacks to the 50 tend to be viable. So yeah, I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. Yeah, CIEN Sienna. Yeah, another one that's hanging in there pretty well. Came right into the 50-day, and we just talked about, pullbacks into the 50-day tend to be fairly viable. I mean, look at what they did with MU. Pullback into the 50-day ended up being viable, and now you've just got Sienna coming right into the 50-day, and that bouncing right where it should have. So, I mean, it's starting to look good, and it's not just that one; it's also LITE. super, super tight inside day. I mean, these names are powerful. It's these optic names. Oh, I can use the shift button. Wait a second. Okay, that one's interesting. I didn't know this one. Okay, hold on a second. This is so I can hit that and then that. Ah. Okay, cool. And then if I do like one of these, or if I do that and then that, it tells me how high something's up. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, man. Thanks for telling me that. TradingView is much better to look at. Oh, I'm happy to hear that, dude. My thoughts on Roivant. Yeah, this thing had a pretty nice flat base down here. And I wish I could see this. I have this on here. I just didn't want to cloud it. So I don't know if I have this on here actually. Yeah, Roivant's not bad. I mean, just a clean bounce off the 20-day. No, I didn't mention AVGO yet. Man, if this thing could just check back one time and finish building this base for me, that would be sweet. What's the minimum amount of time you'll take profit on that? What's the minimum amount you'll take profit on that 3 to 5 day push? Is there any profit too small, or do you not care? No, it's not. Don't think about like your account, my account. It's not really about that. It's just about reducing your risk. It has nothing to do with, oh, I don't care about money. Of course I care about money. It really just depends. If we are coming out of a correction, I want to hold things with a smaller trim. If we are in an extended market, I want to trim a little bit more. I hope that makes sense. Like if we were coming off of a like 10% correction, then I would want to when I buy a breakout, I'd only want to trim a third into that 3 to 5 day push. It's a good question. But if we like are still extended in the market and we really just came off of a 7% correction. So like if you bought yourself some healthcare stocks, trimming like a third to 40% seems pretty good. And then you just let the rest work. How keen am I to buy after 3 days up in the indexes? It depends what I'm buying. But yeah, definitely, a little bit more cautious after 3 up days in a row when some of the better entries, really even like on healthcare stocks, right? You had 2 options, right? You had here and you also had this high type flag right in here. How do I decide what the optimal point is on breakouts? Okay, so if it's a breakout, you're buying it when it's breaking out, which is over the range, over prior day high at the very least. If I'm buying a high volume close, it's over the close of the earnings gap up day, for instance. If you're buying pullbacks, then you're looking against key moving averages. How do you decide like which one you are going to be doing? Well, it depends what kind of traction you've gotten on the others. That's the easiest answer. Right? Like if you've tried to buy high volume closes or earnings gap ups and they're not working, then there's really nothing to do in that side of the market because that's been a little bit choppy. So maybe you consider buying pullbacks to ascending moving averages. DQ in the solar space. I prefer FSLR. if I'm going to try to get involved in solar, I'm not going to go after DQ, which is a laggard and choppy, right? I'm going to go after FS and like still, super beaten up. I'm going to go after FSLR with a whole lot less overhead. Still got to get that right. But yeah, I'm going to go after FSLR. Hood with a nice gap up. I need to, how do I do this that I like add another side-by-side chart here? Is there a way to add a chart right on this chart? Follow through day would be today, but it's going to be fairly doubtful that we get a follow through day today. We're going into holidays tomorrow, which, if I'm not mistaken, the market is closed tomorrow and then a half day on Friday. So, yeah, hard to imagine we get a follow through day today, a traditional follow through day. But breadth has been expanding quite a bit. So, yeah, Roy Bant's not that extended. A little bit. That's kind of what I was looking for on my Thinkorswim charts. But yeah, my thoughts on Cypher or Bull. Cypher's, got a little bit of work to do here to finish building out the right-hand side. Carvana at the 50 simple moving average today. Did a really nice job holding the 200. But yeah, if we get back below the 200 simple moving average, then it's definitely one to keep an eye on. How do I deal with gap ups like today? Would you just wait for retest of previous day's high and forget about it altogether? I don't understand what I'm dealing with. Are you long? Are you short? What are you talking about though? So like, how do I deal with it? I don't know what exactly I need to do with it. Rocket Lab's got some work to do. I mean, a lot of names look like this. So like, why Rocket Lab over any other stock in the market that looks like this? Right? Maybe MP, it's starting to build higher lows, but it's got like a small little shelf here that it'll eventually have to take out at some point. I mean, yeah, breakouts could definitely work today. Again, it just depends what it is you're buying. I mean, I'm like over here looking at like names just, kind of ripping higher in pre-market. Not exactly sure what's going on here with like a Microsoft, but this thing's pushing higher in pre-market's up like $8. I mean, I don't know exactly what's going on, but and then on the flip side, you got Google going down. So yeah, not exactly sure what's going on at the moment. No, there's a few of them that I kind of stayed away from. Don't ask me why. Like STLD was one that I was going to go buy over $160. It was on the watch list, but I just kind of left this one alone. This was the first one that I was watching as a long 2 days ago, really 3 days ago. The other one was GMed, but it just trades too thin for me, unfortunately. And this one had a nice little clean breakout spot right there. The other one that I was looking at was MedP, but again, trades a little bit thin. And I was looking at buying this thing just a handful of days ago, right through here. So yeah, the names that I've been kind of watching, sometimes they're just trading a little bit too thin for me, so I can't buy them. It's not that I don't want to, and like I should have bought XLV down here. It was on my watch list. Going into the 10th, and I just never bought it. A mistake for sure. And even like XLV on this little high type flag, it was also on the watch list going into Friday. But again, I just never bought it, which don't ask me why. Sometimes these things are a little too slow, and they are, right? They're a little too slow. Yeah, I mean, it's up 12%, though. I'd rather be up 12% than no percent. We did not get a follow through day. Yesterday was lower volume on the indices. Yeah, TER looks good. And like these other ones, like MU, like Sienna, like a bunch of these others, they come right down into the 50-day, and then they start to bounce. Again, what do you do with them on the potential fourth day up in a row? Do you buy them, or do you let it check back and build a higher low, or push a little bit more and build a higher low? Yeah, IAG, IM Gold, very nice. Very nice. And then KGC is another one. I've got an alert set on this one for today. So AEM, we'll see. NEM's another one. We'll see. This thing just kind of keeps flagging out here. I guess the key would be to wait on gold to act a little bit better, but I think gold acts fine. GLD acts. And it's funny because look at how similar these things look. They're just tightening up here on the right-hand side after a big move up. Now, this was the best breakout of all of them. The square on the left where it says unnamed. Oh, square to the left where it says unnamed. Oh, very cool. Okay. All right. Now we can make this a little bit smaller. Thanks, guys. Now, I guess the next stupid question might be double click any edge to reset your. No, I guess the real question would be is how do I make this side smaller time frame? You guys are awesome. Thanks for answering that. A lot of you guys are using TradingView, huh? Apparently. But now I guess the question becomes, how the heck? Oh, okay. And then the other thing I have to do is I have to link these charts so that they're moving together. All right, I got a little bit to learn. I'm not going to mess with it just at the moment, but I will mess with it. Yeah, today, a follow through day could be today. It could be tomorrow if the market were open. It could be Friday. It could be next Monday. But the idea is that one of these upcoming days, we will have a follow through day. Somebody just messaged me. All right, let's go. Okay. SNDK, a little bit of relative weakness yesterday compared to an MU. I don't think this thing looks all that bad. A little bit more digestion, could be ready to go. I don't know that market's chop, chop, chop. If you've been focused on healthcare names, if you've been focused on pharmaceuticals, if you've been focused on biotechs, it has not been chop at all. In fact, it's been a really good market. It's been a really good market. And then just recently, you had the banks, and they did break out of a downtrend. And then you also had home builders XHB or ITB start to try to come out of this downtrend. Front running the rate cut narrative, right? And if you look at a name like LEN, yeah, I mean, this doesn't look all that bad. Starting to turn up, and look at a name like LEN starting to turn up as well. Haha. Oh, figured it out. People, you guys are super helpful, man. You guys are super helpful. What is the base case with SPY in the next month? No, if like breadth begins to expand, okay, look, there's a couple of really big positives. Semiconductors trying to reclaim the 50 simple moving average, they're looking better. Obviously, we know what Google's been doing. That's looking good. Microsoft did a really nice job of holding the 200 simple moving average yesterday. Hold on. This needs to be the exact same color. Blue. Microsoft did a really nice job pulling into the 50 simple moving average yesterday and then starting to bounce. That was amazing. And then right with it, Amazon a few days ago on Friday started to bounce from the 200 simple moving average. So if mega caps are going to continue to do well, home builders are going to come to life and at the very least front run the rate cut narrative. You've got already a handful of groups that are doing really well with healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and biotech. And then you're going to obviously get the home builders. You're going to get regional banks. Look at what the IWM did these past few days. Why? Because of the KRE, right? The financials make up such a big portion of the IWM. IWM 3 big days in a row. Well, KRE 3 big days in a row. And again, it wasn't just that one. It was also home builders. So this is like a 5% up day on Friday and then a 5% up day yesterday. I mean, you can't really ask for a whole heck of a lot more, honestly. Now, why does that keep doing that? Doesn't matter. Figure that part out later.
On RPGL, received NASDAQ related.
It just depends like what you're buying. No, I haven't bought anything in the last 3 sessions. That's because things have been a little thin for me. It's not that I haven't wanted to. The only name I feel like I missed was STLD. But, I've been focused on the right places. It's just I haven't been able to get situated, right? Like GMED is one that I wanted to buy. I probably could have bought this one, honestly. And then MEDP is another one. I posted about this one on X, and I thought it was buyable on Monday. So, but a lot of the names that I've been watching, unfortunately, they're just not trading super big volume, and I can't really trade them. So Caterpillar is another one that I'll be keeping my eyes on today. I do think this one looks awesome. So yeah, maybe there is still some buying to do today. And then, we'll see. We'll try to get ourselves situated. I don't really have like any FOMO for missing out on a couple day bounce. I mean, we've also got, I forgot to mention, we have retail apparel acting really well, right? So the Gap was one that's been acting really well. And then last night you had URBN not only have a big push, you also had on the smaller time frame a big gap up overnight. So this thing technically did gap up and hit a new 52-week high yesterday. So nice push yesterday, then a big gap up overnight. That should be interesting to see how this thing acts. Yeah, retail, home builders, health, biotech. Yeah, there's a lot. There seems to be a lot in play. So, and then it's not just that too. You also have like this utility name with NEE. This is like your traditional cup with a handle. It's just kind of building out here. Definitely starting to act a little bit better. Probably good to set an alert on that sucker. Yeah, a lot of these names are on the morning gap up for some reason. Things are just gapping up this morning. Yesterday was also day 3. And again, we didn't have a pickup in volume. Yeah, this one also looks awesome. And it technically broke the high volume close yesterday, right? The high volume close would have been like right through there. What are the downsides to trading a low dollar volume stock? Well, they tend to be more whippy. And I just can't get situated in them. And the most important part of all is the amount of slippage, right? So if a stock is trading like $20 million a day, I just cannot buy it. I physically cannot put the money that I would want to into that stock, right? I'll move it too much to get in, and then I'll move it too much to get out. And I'm not going to be 10% of a stock's volume in the day all by myself, right? That's insanity. I mean, that's just absolutely insanity. Yeah, ANF could very well be a high volume close. Yes, it can. No, I still have Thinkorswim, but I thought that this was a little bit cleaner. A little bit cleaner, and more importantly, it's just smoother. It's just a whole lot smoother to use. NBIS, nice gap up overnight, huh? Yeah, silver's looking interesting. The metals, and this one's gapping up overnight too. So copper, gold, silver, steel are the metals that are like most coming into, coming onto my radar. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I see what you guys are saying. So get onto this square. The problem here is, so I flagged this symbol, it's blue. But if I go to change it on the left, where the left is the daily, okay, and then the right is let's call it the 10-minute chart. How do I get it now that when I change one of these boxes, because they're both flagged as blue and they're both, let's just say Microsoft. Okay, fine. But how do I get it now that when I type in any ticker symbol, right, they'll both change? Like, how do I now? Why is the right still Microsoft? Is this just because I have to like change it from like my watch list or something like that? Like, how would I do something like that? Do these both have to be flagged blue? I don't understand, or I'm confused, but that's all right. It's painful to watch me use TV. You gotta give me a moment, dude. I'm still a dinosaur with some of this stuff. I've been a Thinkorswim user for 5 years. Not as easy as you think. I love Deep View as well. I love Deep View for their scanning ability. Ah, okay. I mean, man, you guys are very cool. All right. Yeah, I can then save the layout. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. I'm going to mess with it a little bit longer. You guys are awesome. Thanks. This is my turn to ask some questions. On the square where I toggle symbol. I mean, TV moves though. It's just smoother. Click on the square near unnamed, then drop down and select synchronized ticker. Okay, symbols. Oh, synchronized symbol. Ah. Thanks, brother. You guys are the best. Any news on AVGO? So AVGO would probably be down in sympathy with Google, and I don't actually see the news. And then, yeah, NVIDIA and AMD are up. I feel like now it's funny because these names are forever going to be attached at the hip, where when one goes up, the other obviously goes up. When one goes down, the other pair goes down. I don't really love action like that, especially with such big stocks. It's like a very bifurcated market. Like institutions are like, okay, what basket do we go and play versus just play all of them? Not buy the dip on a flush, buy the dip to an ascending moving average. At least that's my preference. Or an undercut and rally. A moving average is just a lagging indicator, but like you'll come into like a prior day low, you'll undercut that level, and then you'll start to reclaim. Then I wait for a 620 setup. Today or yesterday isn't considered, well, today could be considered a follow through day if we're up like 1% and we have greater volume than yesterday's volume. JBIO. Oh man, I was like, what's wrong with this chart? Why is it broken? JBIO. I don't know about this one. But Amgen, night and day. This Amgen's nice. I'm still short Netflix, yeah. Seco. Yeah, nice base. Seco Environmental. A little slow. Oh, actually, it's not that slow. 5% per day. Willdan. This base is not going anywhere. My only problem with Willdan is it's just too illiquid for me. That's the only problem. Yep, rotation is important of strong bull markets. Yeah, the market hardly corrected, and then all of a sudden, you had healthcare stocks holding their own and kind of keeping some things buoyant, all while speculative money just kind of fled for the hills. And then all of a sudden, some semiconductors started to break down a little bit, but now they're coming back, and now all of a sudden you've got your retail apparel that's been doing really well as of late. So there are other groups really coming around. So that's nice to see. Yeah, CLS is also down a little bit in pre-market in sympathy with Google. Not a bad setup. Needs a little bit more consolidation here. Too many wide range bars, like too many ugly down days and then snap backs, and it's just not trading very tight at the moment. How come we don't see more small cap biotechs? Okay, so let me just quickly pull up my highest momentum scan. And you tell me. So NKTR, although this isn't a small cap bio, but this thing goes from like $8 to 60. I'm pretty sure that's a humongous move. TERN, right? This thing goes from like $1.83 to $30 in like a straight line. I would say that would be considered running. I mean, a lot of these names like CELC. I mean, this is just massive. I mean, look at some of these moves, right? You go from $11 to 100 in, what is this? Couple months, 800%. So, and my list is littered with these, by the way. Look at VTYX. Like, how much more do you want these things to run? You're talking since the April lows. April lows, 1,200%. I don't know any other groups that have stocks up 1,200% and holding up. And holding up. When I switched to swing trading, what was your size and how often would you? I increased it as my portfolio grew. And at the time I was trading, like 250K positions, like $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, sometimes more, like per position. And I would increase it as my portfolio grew. Like, and if you mean by like percent, like 10%. 10%'s always been about my sweet spot. So yeah. But yeah, Blue, as for that comment of biotech's not running, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, because the stocks that are most vertical on my screen are all biotechs. I mean, like, look at just this recent action and like another, I'll pull up another one. Like, look at this action. Look at this action since like June 25th. This thing's up 400%. Look at this, like INBX over the last few days. 200% in a month. And it's like my scans are littered with this stuff. Look at how nice this guy looks too. There's like all these high type flags within the biotech space. I mean, look at this from September. I mean, you're up 400% in 2 months. Caterpillar looks great. Yeah, I think Caterpillar is like a beautiful high type flag. I think I can get it. I have Jeff's stuff saved here. Did it add? Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. Boom. I also have his this one. Oh, but how do I put it on the other one? So too much information. I wish I could like shrink it, make it smaller, and put it down in the corner. Beautiful. You guys have been super helpful with just trying to get help me get this TV proper. It's much easier to look at. It's like so much easier on the eyes, and more importantly, like as like somebody who's messing around on it, it's just so much smoother than Thinkorswim. How were you able to size up, or how were you able to handle sizing up in your psychology? Don't think about it as like I'm sizing up. Always think about things in terms of percentage when you're sizing up. Now, I did do it gradually, but just kind of handling it as my portfolio grew, right? It's like you size up naturally because internally you're a little greedy, right? Like you want to make a little bit more, but the only way to make a little bit more is to put on a little bit more size. But it's not like you were just like going crazy and going all in. You were just taking a little bit more size because your portfolio was a little bit bigger, and you've earned the right to take a little bit more size. That's it. So I'm still working on that Excel sheet, and once I make it a whole lot better, I'll be happy to share it. But for anybody who is curious where I got that Excel sheet, I did learn how to build it from Jeff's son. Yeah, TradingView, manage risk. Yeah, that's it. No, Toss is not down. Toss is not down. Just this is a whole heck of a lot smoother. Yeah, AEM, NEM, KGC, all the gold names are on watch today. My thoughts on Tesla for today? You know, it's over Thursday's highs and back through the 50 simple moving average. I think will look good. I'm not going to be shorting Lilly, no. And if I did, I would need like the biggest volume. I would need much bigger volume. Yeah, team backside the alerts. They're right. They're webhooks from TV. They're technically not webhooks directly from TV. I kind of adjusted them and I built the webhooks to go through Replit so that I can, change the way it looks a little bit. But the webhooks definitely go through TV, and then I just use Replit to code something that will then send it off to the Discord. But yeah. Yeah, these flags are only if they're attached to a watch list. Yeah, I figured that part out. You guys are awesome. You guys have been like insanely helpful today. You guys have watched me struggle this entire time. Oh, you guys are awesome. Sync crosshairs and sync under symbol layout. Yeah, I figured that one out. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. SYM could go on its own, but one I'm definitely watching as a potential high volume close. I own this name on what date was this? Thursday, September 18th, and I got stopped out a few days later. So, and then only to see it go. And it very well could. Select scale to price only so you don't have to resize anymore. Now, where the heck do I do that? Oh, boy. Scale to size. I'll have to look for that too. Full screen mode, take a snapshot. I'll have to look that up. Oh, thank you, dude. I appreciate that. Oh, on the price scale. Scale price chart only. On the price scale. Yeah, I don't want to fit the data to screen. Okay, yeah, perfect. No, crosshairs are synced. So I'll explain this one because then I got to go in a few minutes. So 620 setup is just a entry tactic. It is not a daily setup. I think, I talk about it all the time, like entering using a 620 setup. And what I really mean by that is, let's just say price is pulling back to a key moving average. Well, I don't just buy it as it just came down into the key moving average. What I do is I'll wait for a 620 setup. What I mean by that is I'm waiting for price to actually start to turn back up on a 5-minute chart, right? I've got enough patience to wait on a 5-minute chart if I think the bigger picture is going to turn back up. So what do? I just wait for the 5-minute chart to start to turn back up using a 6 and a 20 EMA on a smaller time frame, a 5-minute. I wait for that to cross back up, and then I use MACD, but I just use a histogram, which is how I have the arrows, and I'm just waiting for that to cross up as well. So that's all I'm kind of really doing. I just use a histogram, so you'll see the arrows on my Thinkorswim chart, or you probably have in the past. And that's literally all I'm doing. Keeping it incredibly simple. Keeping it super, super simple. on a 5 minute. And that's really all a 620 setup is. Like, you're going to get an area of confluence, and then I use that 5-minute chart because if it starts to turn back up, I know exactly what those lows are, and I can set my defined risk right there. So how do I trade stocks like Tesla that move right at the open without a 5-minute opening range break? Like, if you're buying a breakout, you can just use a 5-minute opening range break. You don't need to buy the first 5-minute bar. Unless, of course, something's breaking a prior day high, and then that also means that it's breaking the range, then I want to get in right away. Thoughts on Open Door? It's sticking around pretty dang well. Yeah, it's doing an awesome job sticking around. I actually have it. I just have it hidden. And I'll talk to you about this in the room. I don't want to have all this right here unless I could like shrink it. Auto scale. Okay, cool. Sweet. Thank you. Man, there's just so much to learn. Yeah, I want to figure out a way that very cool. Yeah, I want to kind of figure out a way that this is a little smaller. TEVA is another one that looks really good. Yeah, another one that looks good. And it's gapping up quite a bit overnight. Do you think sector rotation can be short term, but the big money flows into high growth names in AI? Yeah, I mean, some of the high growth names are probably going to come back to life, but for the last few weeks, we've been getting money going into healthcare, pharmaceuticals, and biotech, and then just recently, home builders and regional banks. And actually, if you look at regional banks, it's got so many, and then you've got a lot of look at the IHI ETF and look at the stocks within the IHI. You've got a lot of big bases there. So it kind of looks like regional banks and the IHI could be a place where money just continues to go to just based on the way some of those charts look. But, we won't, that's only really known in hindsight. Your job isn't to guess what can happen in the future. Your job is to find a low risk entry on a setup you understand in a group that is getting love. Your job is not to guess how long something might actually run for. Guys, sorry that I spent all day trying to get this TV figured out. I will work on it a little bit more over the weekend, and hopefully I can answer some more of your guys' questions this upcoming week. I know Friday's a shortened day. I should still be on tomorrow. Holidays. Hopefully you guys all have a super awesome weekend and holiday tomorrow. And I will see you guys bright and early Monday morning. Thank you guys again for the questions. And sorry that I didn't answer as many as I could have trying to figure out TradingView with your guys' help. So thanks for that. And I will see you guys Friday morning. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.